What's up, you guys? It's Erin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about all things light coverage foundations. I have a lot of different tinted moisturizers, light coverage foundations, skin tints, all those types of things. Those are really hot on the market, and I've been wanting to make a roundup video of the best and worst for a while, but I just kept getting more new ones to test out. So I was like, well, I want to include that new one and that new one, and they take a while to test out. So yeah, we're going to talk through all those types of foundations. But before we get into the video, make sure you like this video if you like relatable beauty content, and subscribe to my channel for more videos. I'm pretty new and my channel is really small and growing. So if you would subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. So let's just get into the video. So I'm sure you're all aware that there really has been a shift away from the full coverage matte foundation trend, more towards the light coverage, glowy skin, natural skin, skin tints, tinted moisturizers, light coverage foundation. All that type of foundation has been really hot, and there's been more and more coming out. So I've had a couple, but over the summer I've just kind of accumulated a couple in PR that I've been testing out, and I've actually kind of tested out all these to make sure I have solid thoughts on them all and can pass them along to you, so you can kind of decide based on what your preference is what formula you might think will work for you. I'll just preface by saying that I have I would say leaning dry but can be oily in my T-zone type of skin, and I also get breakouts and texture along my cheeks, and like in my nose I can get kind of dry patches. So I definitely like a more hydrating formula, so I'm really into the more glowy skin tint trend because it just seems to work with my skin type a lot better. For me, it's hard to make a matte full coverage foundation work because it can just emphasize the issues I have with my skin. It can look dry in certain areas, oily in other areas, and emphasize texture for sure. So with that being said, I have some little notes about every formula I have here, but I don't really have them in particular order. I'm not going to rank them or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of do a quick talk through of each formula, give you my quick thoughts, and so hopefully it can be helpful for you. Alright, so the first formula I have here is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint. This has just been on my mind because it's Labor Day weekend, and I actually took this with me to use all weekend. I have the shade ST7 Diaz. This is such a nice product. It is on the pricier side. I believe it's like $48, which is rare for me to buy something. I believe I got it on some sort of sale, but this is such a gorgeous formula. It is SPF 40, which I really like, and it's a really thin, I'm not sure if I'm going to swatch these all, but I'll just show you. It's a really thin serum-y texture, and what I like to do with this one is just rub it in with my fingers, and it just gives a really gorgeous, like, glowy, hydrated skin with a light. It's definitely a light to medium coverage. You're not going to get a ton of coverage with this. I definitely spot conceal with concealer when I'm using this, but after I rub it in with my fingers, it just gives such a nice coverage. It evens out my skin. It lasts well under a mask, and it feels really light on the skin because it does have that serum-y texture. This is awesome. It just gives you that kind of second skin feel, which I love. It's perfect for summer because it's light feeling on the skin. And yeah, every time I go on like a beachy trip or to the cottage when I know I'm going to be out in the sun, I just use this because it's so nice for being outside, and it gives you some extra SPF. I always wear SPF under this, but yeah, I even got my mom into this one. She was always It CC cream type of girl, and I had her try this. I can't remember if I got her a sample or just said I just knew she would love it, so I ordered her some. And she actually likes this a lot more because it's a lot lighter. She has to wear a mask because she's a teacher, and she just feels like it wears really well under the mask, and it's a lot lighter on her skin than the It CC cream. So if you haven't tried this one, I highly recommend. It's definitely one of my favorites of the bunch, and that is the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. Now I have a newer one to my collection. It's the Becca Doing Skin Tint. Becca Light Shifter Doing Skin Tint. I have the shade Orbit too. Now this is a little bit confusing for me because it's a newer Becca product, but then like Becca's supposedly going out of business. Actually, September, didn't they say September? That would be this month. So I'm not sure why they would say they're going out of business and then release a new product. They released a couple new products. I actually got this sent to me through Actually to test out, so I thought I'll try it. But I've seen it already in TJ Maxx, even though it's a new product. I've seen this and the powder that goes along with it in TJ Maxx, so it's like, I don't really get what they're trying to do here. But nonetheless, let's talk about the formula. This is definitely not quite what I thought it would be. It's like really light coverage. You're not going to get much coverage with this. What it really is more than anything is like a liquid highlight with a little bit of coverage. If you can see there, it's gorgeous. You get a lot of glow, and I actually brought this with me to the cottage as well this weekend, and I mixed it with the Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint for even more glow. And it's gorgeous, but I don't think if you bought this from the store, you'd think it's a skin tint with some light coverage. You would almost look like the Tin Man if you wore this by itself. I really enjoy this as like a mix-in product, and it's definitely similar to like the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter with maybe a little more coverage, or what I would think that the Auric Glow Lust, is that what it's called? The liquid highlight from Auric. It's what I would think from this. So it's definitely, you know, if you can find it at TJ Maxx, it's very affordable and really nice. But I don't wear it on its own. I like to mix it in if I need something to be a little more glowy, or if I just want like a little highlight with some concealer. It's really, really nice. But yeah, it's definitely not like gonna give you a lot of coverage or something I would wear on its own. Next we have one of the first tinted face products I ever got, and one of the first products I ever received in PR back in the early days of my Instagram page. So this is the Kosas Tinted Face Oil. I have the shade 4. It's definitely a little bit dark for me. I think they sent me 3.5 and 4, but I gave 3.5 to my sister-in-law to try out. This definitely works for me when I'm tan, but it is a little bit dark. So this is definitely a face oil. It's very, very thin and has that ball in there that you shake up and you can hear. You definitely need to shake this up because it will separate because it's an oily texture. So this is really, really thin, like watery, oily, like will run. I definitely recommend like putting this in your hand and then applying it with your fingers. And if you're going to use a primer with this, because it's an oil-based primer, I would recommend using something that's not a water-based primer, because that's just not going to mix well with this. You know, oil and water don't mix. This is a beautiful texture. It's definitely oily and glowy, which can be expected with this, but I think if you prep your skin properly, and if I'm having a good skin day, I do like this. If I don't prep my skin properly, if it's not hydrated enough, even though it's a face oil, around my nose where I get kind of dry skin patches, it really can emphasize those. But if I'm having a good skin day and my skin is prepped nicely, it is a really gorgeous product. But I do notice that because it's just such like an oily product, it's not super long lasting. It will rub off after a couple hours. You definitely need to set this because it's really kind of tacky and oily on the skin. But if you have dry skin and you want something that's going to give you a lot of hydration, maybe even for winter this would be good. It is a nice product. It's just not my favorite out of the bunch. I just have formulas that are a little bit easier to work with, a little bit better for my, you know, skin texture and longer lasting. So I definitely use this from time to time. I just don't reach for it as much as some of my other formulas. I do have a couple affordable options in here, and one is the Covergirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk. This is the shade Light Medium 550. This definitely runs a little light because I'm not usually a light medium type of shade. I'm usually more light, so I would be aware of that. This is a great affordable option. I love wearing this to work, and it's just easy. It's like a nice, like not too thick, not too thin. It blends into the skin nicely. It gives a nice medium coverage. It's definitely not going to be full coverage or anything like that. The shade works well for me. And Covergirl is cruelty-free now, which I really, really enjoy. And I've recommended this to a lot of my friends and family, and they tend to really like it. And it's just a good all-around product. I do notice if I wear it to work, I really need to prep my skin well because it can look really dry under my mask. But I don't really count that because it's like everything looks dry after 12 hours under a mask. So that is what it is. But when I wear it just on a normal day when I don't have to have a mask on my face for 12 hours, it looks gorgeous. It's affordable. It's easy to use. If you want an affordable, lighter skin coverage foundation for every day, I definitely recommend the Covergirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk. Now I have one that's really not my favorite. It's the Clove and Hallow Liquid Skin Tint. This is another product that was sent to me in PR, one of the first PR brands to send me PR. This is actually expired now. I kind of pulled all these products back out and retested them because, you know, sometimes you get in a rut and kind of use the same foundations over and over. So I pulled out some of the ones I hadn't used in a while. This is definitely expired. It definitely has a smell to it and it's separated. I'm not gonna put any on my hand because it would just separate because it's expired. I have the shade 5 and that's a pretty good shade for me. Clove and Hallow is a really nice brand that is a small brand from Atlanta. They're cruelty free and they only use a certain amount of ingredients in their products, which I really like, and I love their liquid blush, but this is just a little bit too thick. If I don't mix it with a face oil or like a moisturizer, this is just too drying on my skin, and it's definitely more full coverage than just a skin tint. It's definitely on the medium to full coverage side of things, and I have a lot of other formulas that look more like a second skin and melt into my skin nicer than this, and that's why this went bad because I just didn't use it enough. So yeah, I don't know if I really recommend this one. Maybe if you had more oily skin and like a more full coverage, but for me it just didn't work very well. I wasn't sure whether I was going to include this one in here, but because it's a full coverage moisturizer, I thought I would. It's the It Bye Bye Foundation Full Coverage Moisturizer. I have the shade Light, which is actually pretty, it looks pretty dark for the light shade. I've always loved the It CC cream, and then I bought this like a year or 2 years ago when it was 50% off at Ulta. And to be honest, I don't really notice a huge difference between this and the original CC cream. To me, they perform very similarly. They smell the same, they have a similar texture, and it's kind of that like makeup-y, almost lemony texture, or smell, not texture. It's really nice, but like my mom said, the It Cosmetics products are really nice, but they can feel a little bit heavy on the skin. This definitely gives some nice coverage, but yeah, I like to make sure I prep my skin nicely because I don't know, it just can feel a little bit heavy. The texture's a little bit thicker, and I don't reach for it as much as some of my other formulas, but I definitely like it better than like the Kosas Tinted Face Oil or the Clove and Hallow formula. Yeah, I like it, but I think I was really obsessed with the It Cosmetics line of foundations when they first came out, and I was first really getting into makeup and starting my Instagram page. And now that I've really branched out into different formulas, I've just discover things I like a little bit more and gravitate towards. So yeah, I just think there are maybe better options than this at this point. All right, I have 4 left here, and they're all ones I really like. So the first is this Smashbox Halo Healthy Glow All-in-One Tinted Moisturizer SPF 25. So I have the shade Light Neutral. I picked this up on the, I believe it was the last Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, and it's actually, I believe, going to be on sale again during the 21 Days of Beauty that is currently going on right now. I have to look at what day that is. This is such a gorgeous product. It has like kind of a thin texture, but not too thin that it slips everywhere. The Light Neutral shade is a really nice shade for me. It definitely has medium buildable coverage. I like to apply it with a brush. It just melts into the skin so nicely. It doesn't sit on top of the skin. And this is something that can be built up, so I like to wear it either for every day, or I can wear it with more glam looks, which is like my kind of product because it's just so versatile. And I love that it has SPF 25 in it. It lasts really nicely on the skin, and this is definitely one of my top of the bunch because it just checks all the boxes for me. It doesn't emphasize texture, it doesn't dry out my skin, it doesn't wear off easily, it doesn't slide off my skin. It's just a perfect middle of the road, and I think that this would work for so many people. And then another one that is the newest skin tint tinted moisturizer to my collection is the Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. So the Urban Decay did send me this about 2 weeks ago, and I've been testing this out because I wanted to make sure that I had solid thoughts on it before making this video. It says it has kombucha filtrate and marula oil. So this one reminds me a lot of the Smashbox Halo Healthy Glow, whatever, very long name. This formula reminds me a lot of that. It's like a medium coverage that you can build up. It's a really nice shade for me. It has this pointed applicator similar kind of thin texture, but not too thin, not too thick. It just blends into the skin really nicely. It's actually what I'm wearing on my skin today, and I think my skin looks really, really nice. And yeah, every time I've worn this, I've been very impressed. It lasts well. It doesn't, you know, kind of slide off my skin, and it's like a satiny glow. It's not too dewy. It's not matte. I have the shade 30 Light if I didn't mention that, but this is definitely a top contender for me. I've been really enjoying this since I got it. One that I did a dedicated video on a few videos back is the YSL New Bare Look Skin Tint. So head to that video if you want an entire detailed in-depth review on this, but long story short, I really enjoy this. I do wish I had a darker shade. I have the shade 3. It's a little bit lighter than the rest of my skin tints, but this is meant to be applied with your fingers. It goes on a little bit lighter, and then it darkens as you apply it and kind of sinks into the skin. It does look really nice, but I think the shade 5 would be a little bit better for me, but this will be good for winter. This is definitely a lighter to medium coverage foundation, so I do supplement with concealer, but it's a great second skin feel. It's very serum-y and light textured, which I like. It does not feel heavy on the skin at all. It has like this pointed applicator, and yeah, I've been really impressed with this, and it's actually very price competitive for being a YSL product. It's not much more expensive than like the high-end like Urban Decay Smashbox type products in here, and I really do enjoy this one. Last but not least is one of my ultimate favorites, and it's affordable. It's the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer with hyaluronic acid. This is just an amazing product. I have raved about the Colourpop Pretty Fresh line for a long time. I think the only thing I don't own is the primer, and this is just a gorgeous, really light coverage. It's a thin texture. It rubs into the skin with your fingers, with a brush, with a sponge, however you apply it. It looks beautiful, and I usually take this on trips as my lighter coverage option because it's affordable. I don't care how much I use of it, and it looks really nice with everything, and you can build it up to like a medium coverage, and it's just so versatile. A lot of people rave about this, and for good reason. The only thing I will say is that a lot of people I follow have been saying how this expired pretty quickly for them. So I currently do have this in my everyday makeup bag because I want to make sure I use it up before it goes bad. But I don't have a problem with that because I really, really love this formula. Another great affordable option. All right, that is it for my roundup of all my light coverage skin tinted moisturizer type foundations. Hopefully you can find something in this video that is helpful for you. Let me know down below in the comments if you like these best and worst style videos and what type of products I should do next. And also, if you have a light coverage foundation skin tint type product that is your favorite that I didn't mention here and that I need to try, definitely let me know because base products are my weakness and I really love to try different formulas. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in my next video. Bye.